What's going on, Falcon fan? It's your boy Ricondo. Come back at you with another video. So today we're going to talk about Falcons Sunday night loss against the San Francisco 49ers. Atlanta Falcons just can't start to get on the win streak here. You know, the inconsistencies continue to rear their head for our Atlanta Falcons team, and we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about that. Also, going to talk about the news of Ray McCloud being cut from the team, what that means for Atlanta Falcons, what next for those guys to try to add another weapon to this team if that's going to be something they can do. So, guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you're not dropping another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys are here to talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come here and talk about. That's right, these Atlanta Falcons. So, guys, let's go on to get the cat out of the bag. So, Atlanta Falcons lost on Sunday, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the way the our fan base is when we lose, it's like we live and die on every win and loss, and like when we lose, it's like the season over, guys. Like we need to put in perspective. All right. First of all, you got to look at where we were, coming to this season, the expectations for this season. All right. We're going to talk about the offense in just a minute. But this is a young Atlanta Falcons team. And when you did your predictions for the year, I know most of us did not have them winning every game of the season. Right. So, and if you look at this game in particular, if you take away that failure on 4th and 1, right, and we can guys, the one thing about this, when we talk about playing Monday quarterback, right, because this is what we do as fans and commentators, everybody does it about what Atlanta Falcons should have did on this and that, right? So let's go to the 4th and 1, right? So it was 13-10. Instead of kicking the field goal to tie the game up, it was a 53-yard field goal. And the Falcons decide to go for it on 4th and 1. With a play, they have converted on 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s all season long. They have converted that. So to say it was the wrong play, not necessarily true, because they have converted with that play. Now, early in the game, they got a 4th and 1. They ran Tyler Algier. They had them in the game. They could have did that, and I'm not disagreeing with anybody on that. But to say it was a bad play, it's just not really the case. It just didn't work, because if they get that first down, we don't know the outcome of the game could have been totally different. And they didn't get dominated in this game, right? They got out coached in this game. Let's just call it what it is. They got out coached. They didn't get dominated in this game. They got coached. And with all that being said, to get that 4th and 1, this game could be completely different in this game. So it's just, the fan base is so quick to just be ready to go scorch earth because we lose a game. But we could have won that game. And if you go back to one of my videos, it's about winning in the margins. And the Atlanta Falcons just didn't win enough, did enough things in the margins as a game to win against a really good San Francisco 49er team. Now, they was down a lot of players, but if you watch how they coached, they did something that they hadn't done all season. They brought a lot of pressure on defense to a young quarterback, and so they switched it up, and they got that coach, man. Let's call it what it is. And sometimes that happens in games. So our coaching staff needs to get better. That's one thing. They got to be able to come in. Now, if you go back to my keys last week, I talked about coaching against Kyle Shanahan, right? I said it's not the players, it's him, because he's gonna find your weaknesses and he's going to exploit those weaknesses, right? Divine Diablo going down did not help the cause or anything like that, but he did some of the things that really hurt the Atlanta Falcons all season, running up the gaps. Instead of running a lot of that wide zone, he ran up the middle, right? He took advantage of that, right? He took advantage of our lack of depth at the linebacker position. Once Dion Diablo went out, right? once Deion Blabo went out, it was a wrap, man. JD Bertrand is not an NFL linebacker. I'm sorry, he cannot play, especially going up against a Christian McCaffrey. That was just a straight up mismatch all day long. So, um, if anything, the Atlanta Falcons need to definitely look into that. We heard about Troy Anderson coming back. We don't know what his status is, but now the fact that Divine Diablo is going to be out with a fractured forearm, that's a big deal for us. So we need to figure out that position. But the depth in linebacker is not what we thought it was coming into this season, and because JD Bertrand is not the answer there. Um, he's just I'm sorry, man. I just don't know what to say about that. So, what's going on, Kevin Hurt? But man, I just tell you, man, um, we got our coach in this game. We really did. But the game was not as lopsided as the score was 10 points. But if we get that 4th and 1, we got a chance to win this thing. And that's what I look at it like. So I'm upset, just like you guys upset. And I really hate talking about Atlanta Falcons when they lose. I really do, man, because you guys know I live on this stuff, and I'm trying to this year not to let it consume me for the whole week until we play again like I used to. But it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, you know, we it's just 6 games, guys. And then, like I said, if you go back to your predictions and pick the games that you thought the Falcons were gonna win and lose, right? I know probably everybody probably had them picking, beating the Carolina Panthers, right? But I wonder how many people actually had them beating the Vikings, the Bills, right? Go back and look at the Commanders, because I know a lot of people probably not having them winning those games, but they won those games. So, um, 500 it's decent. It's really decent. So we can't live and die on every win and loss and be ready to fire the coach and be ready to get rid of this and that and all that stuff. Now, it's some things they're going to work on. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, because they have to fix some things so we can start to win games and do like we want them to do. But we have to understand that it's the NFL, man. I wonder how many people, was crying at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night. They only put up 10 points on Monday Night Football, right? It happens. It is what it is. The NFL, the other team plays in professional sports, professional football team as well. So it's gonna happen like that. So from the fan base perspective, let's not just go ahead and be ready to fire everybody after 6 games in the season, right? With a young team that, in my opinion, has shown some progress in the first 6 weeks, right? The problem is, if you look at the title, it's just inconsistent. That's where it lies. So, going over what happened on Sunday night, right? It was 60 plays Atlanta, 66 plays 49ers, right? We threw for 230 yards passing, 1 touchdown. We did have that fumble, right? Elijah Wilson finally, his limitations finally showed up in this game. Jay Huff was destroying Elijah Wilson all game long. Um, 3rd down, we was 5 for 11. See, it's when I say, if you look at the numbers, it's not as bad as you think, right? They beat us time possession, and you hear Raheem Morris. They kind of beat us at our own game, running the ball. We was not able to run the ball, 62 yards. And go back to my video. What did I say was going to happen? They're going to stop Bijan. They're going to stop Drake, right? That's why you need to get more targets in. We definitely going to talk about Ray McCloud release in just a minute, because to me that's a big deal, bigger than what we want to look at it as. But this game is not as lopsided as people may want to think. Yes, we could not stop the run. We could not stop Christian McCaffrey, right? But they only put up 20 points, right? And game 13-10, we get a 4th down, we right back in that thing, right? Or we can keep the field goal, tie the game up 13-13. But it was taking a chance to take the lead and don't let the 49ers milk out the clock, because that's what, and win it at the end. So like I said, man, situational football, you're going to make decisions and make wrong decisions. They get that first down right there. They go and drive down, get a touchdown, 17-13. Now, 49ers got to score a touchdown to win the game. So you understand the strategy. It just didn't work out, but it's not a reason to try to like question every decision they make. Like I said, that play that they ran have converted on first down numerous times this season. It has worked, right? And the running the ball has worked. So you can't question you know the play call. It just did. They just didn't execute the play call, man. It just didn't happen. That's just the way it is sometimes. Sometimes you execute, sometimes you don't. Like I said, if you go back and watch some of the that same route concept in another game, it happened in the Buffalo Bill game. Out to Drake London, he catch the ball, go out of bounds, first down. Go back and look the same play, same play. I'm gonna talk about that in a minute though, because it's kind of predictable. But what I'm telling you is that plays worked before. So when everybody get on here like why we didn't run the ball, why? Because they run that play before. That's one of they plays that worked numerous of times for them to convert on first, fourth, third, and fourth downs. It works. That's why they ran it, right? Now they probably need to change it up because we heard what the cornerback said. He watched it on film, but that's why they ran it. So like people come in and do the hindsight thing, 2020, like maybe should they did this, maybe they should have did. Earlier they ran Tyler Algier. We even had a reporter said, why you don't have your best player on the field on that crucial down. Like, you can question everything, right? They could have had Bijan out there, they could have had Michael Vick out there, they could have had Deion Sanders out there, all Julio Jones, all the best players out there. And if they don't execute the play right, it ain't gonna work. It comes down to execution, man, and not the play call in that instance because that play has worked before. I understand if it had never worked before, and like, why would they run that play? Because they don't convert it on that play before. That's why, right? So hindsight 2020 is what it is. Drake still had an opportunity to catch that ball, even though the defender got his hand on it. So that's the way you look at it. So I'm just wanting to say that about the Sunday night loss, right? It's not as bad as we thought it was. It's not as good as we thought it was, right? It's somewhere in the middle, and that's why they're a 500 team. But remember, we want our team to be playing well in November and December. That's when it really counts. Last year, the Atlanta Falcons was 6-3, right? Then they fell off a cliff in November and December. Lost 4 games during that time span. They lost 6 of their last 8 games during that time span, right? That's not what we want. We want our team to be going in the right direction, not peaking right now. We don't want them to peak right now, unless they're going to just continue to peak throughout the year. But we want them to be heading in the right direction. So that's what we want to see this team. We got to understand also playing with a rookie quarterback going to make rookie mistakes 100%. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. What's going on, T. Terry? All right, so let's get into the offensive issues, man. This is the problem with the Atlanta Falcons. So coming into this season, we didn't expect offensive issues, right? We had a quarterback that got a rocket arm that's going to reach, touch the every part of the field. That's what we thinking, right? Well, teams they studied Michael Penix in the first 4 weeks, right? And they found out something, right? We're going to put too high safety. Even though we know you're a running team, we don't want to give up the big plays. So we're going to make you take what the defense gives you in the passing game. That's what they're going to do. Now, if we run the ball like we did in the Minnesota game, like we did in the Buffalo game, like we did in the Commanders game, ain't nothing they're going to do. They probably will get destroyed. But if they somehow able to stop the run, they're going to put the ball into a young quarterback, Michael Penix hand. And they're playing a lot of man-to-man defense, right? Well, the problem playing the man-to-man defense, you got to have playmakers that can beat man-to-man defense. One thing. That's one thing you can do. Well, they got Drake. Drake probably can beat man-to-man. We've seen Kyle Pitts can beat man-to-man defense. But guys, that's it. We got issues, right? So when you're talking about offense issues, if they're going to play too high and they're gonna play a lot of man, and they're gonna bring pressure on. It's trying to stop the run. You're gonna play a lot of man-to-man defense. It's a copycat league. 49ers did it, right? And the other team's going to try it too. They're going to put 8 in the box, play man to man, and they're going to make Michael Penix beat you, and they're going to make the receivers win man to man matchups. That's what they're going to do. So that's one of the issues. But we got to come up with some more playmakers. That's our issue right now. That's one of our biggest issues. Another issue, predictability. I just talked about that play. They have used it numerous of times, you know, this season, right? Converting on 3rd and 4th downs. Well, it's on film now, right? So you got to go against your consistent plays and do something different, right? They know it what you're trying to do now, right? Um, and it's predictability. This team is too predictable, right? They don't take advantage of the middle of the field at all, right? They don't do that. I don't know why. I don't know why Zach Robinson does not take advantage of the middle of the field. Like, I don't know why we don't use crossing routes. I don't know why we go up the seams. We don't take advantage of none of the easy throws for a quarterback, because the harder throws are stuff on the boundaries, guys, especially when you standing on one hash mark. And yes, Michael Penix has the arm to be able to do that. But the problem is when you're always going on the outsides, you're not taking advantage of the middle of the field. That's predictability. They starting to see that on film. They know you always want to go outside. You don't take advantage of the middle of the field like you should. Predictability is one of the worst things that's starting to creep up for Zach Robinson. And if he don't fix it, he's going to be another casualty this year, right? That's one of the problems, because if you start to be too predictable on offense, you get enough film out there, you're not going to be able to create plays. It's just that simple. So the predictability is really what's killing this Atlanta Falcons offense, and that's real one of the real big issues that Atlanta Falcons going to happen unless they start to change. They have a big playbook, so it's no reason for the Atlanta Falcons to be so predictable in and out, right? The second issue is it's a young quarterback. Kevin said it. Guys, he's in his first year as a quarterback. Hadn't even played 10 started 10 games yet in NFL. He's going to make issues. He's going to make mistakes, man. That's what's going to happen. He's going to make mistakes. That's what's going to happen. Any way you try to look at it, Michael Penix Jr., yes, he played a lot of games in college, but this is the NFL. When they get film on you, they take away your strengths. You got to look at your weaknesses, and you got to improve on your weaknesses, right? Now, it was an anomaly. It was an anomaly this game, because usually Michael Penix is really good in pressure, right? But I can tell you this: Elijah Wilkinson had one of his worst games. He had the worst game of the season this week, and then I do not understand why they don't have hot routes in this offense. I don't understand why they don't have hot routes in the offense. You always got hot routes, right? When they're sending more pressure than you can block, and if you got a lot of people going out in coverage because you're not doing max protect, that means somebody's open when they're sending more people you can block. You got to institute the hot routes. I don't see the hot routes out there. Every quarterback, all the great quarterbacks, every offense, they always had hot routes, man. Hey, if he's coming, you turn right around because I'm coming to you. Because he's vacating where you're going, and you just turn around, cut your route off. I don't know if they got those in there. You know, like I said, I'm not in the offensive room, but it doesn't seem like they have any hot routes at all. It seems like if he don't have that long, what's going on, James? It seems like he don't have that long time for them to have the developing routes down the field. The hot routes don't exist. When they're sending 6 and you got 5 to block, you got to institute the hot routes. I don't understand that, right? Especially with a young quarterback. Now, like I said, Michael Penix usually is really good in pressure. This game he wasn't. All right, if you go back and look at his stats in the fourth quarter, he's been money, and under pressure, he's been money. It just didn't happen this game because the Atlanta Falcons got that coach. I'm just being honest with you. They got a coach on both sides of the ball, but the main issue is we got to give the younger quarterback grace. Now we don't know his status this week. Got a bone bruise in his feet, in his foot, ankle, whatever. But if he's going to take a page out of Kirk Cousins' book, he's not coming out. He's probably going to play this week, so we'll see. So we don't know if Michael Penix is going to go this week, but at the same time, right? He's a young quarterback. It's going to take time for him to get where he needs to go. He has made a lot of plays for Atlanta Falcons, but if we talk about the word inconsistent, Michael Penix has been the most inconsistent player on this Falcons team for us. Yes, being our starting quarterback, he's probably been the most inconsistent, but it's understandable because he's a rookie quarterback. So and you had to know that this was going to be the case, right? Like I said, us as fans, been watching football a long time, been watching Atlanta Falcons a long time, been watching young rookie quarterbacks a long time. We got to understand that. They're going to be inconsistent, right? Look at Jaden Daniels, right? He shook up the world last year, right? Caught everybody off guard. Now they got film on him. He's struggling. Look at CJ Stroud, probably one of the most best rookie seasons ever. Is struggling, guys. It's going to take time. You got to give the guys time. But the start to pull the trigger and panic and all this kind of stuff, he's not the guy, right? It's too early to understand that, right? He's not turnover prone, right? You don't turn the ball over. He's not Desmond Ritter. That's what Desmond Ritter did, right? So you ask a young quarterback, don't lose the game for you, right? He's not doing that, but he's inconsistent, and we're gonna have to live with that until he get more, experience. That's what it's going to boil down. He got to get more experience. So the being predictable on offense, young quarterback, and then the biggest thing is the lack of weapons in the passing game. They don't have a bona fide second receiver, number 2 receiver. They don't have one, right? Kyle Pitts is actually been doing the thing he needs to do. Drake London been doing the thing he need to do. But if you go back to last week when I talked about, targeting Drake 16 times, no other receiver had a reception in this game. Guys, it's starting to show, right, that they don't have enough weapons for the young quarterback. You thought maybe you did, but you don't, right? Unless you're going to utilize Kyle Pitts as your number 2 and have him be, but then you're taking away from the tight end position. So they need to figure this out. I don't know if they got anybody on this practice squad or on this team that can come in to be the bona fide number 2 receiver. But right now, at this point in time, they do not, right? And until they fix this issue, as weapons, it's gonna be hard sledding. I'm just being honest with you. If the weapon is an issue for this team, the weapons are an issue. They don't have enough weapons. They got a number 1 receiver. They got a really good tight end in Kyle Pitts. He's been playing like that this year. They got Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, but they don't have a consistent number 2 receiver, and that's what's the offensive issues. So if you look at being too predictable, way too predictable, going into 6 weeks, 6 games of this season, right? Your quarterback, that's who's going to be inconsistent until he get the experience he need to start to let those inconsistencies go down. And then the lack of weapons, man. The lack of weapons is not where it's going to get us done. So let's go to some of these comments here. T. Terry says, the Falcons, you've forgotten who Michael Penix Jr. was at Washington. He was throwing 408. DeBoer, the coach in Alabama, is a good coach. You know who the offensive coordinator for Alabama? Michael Penix's offensive coordinator. You're right. I think they should try to get him. I, I agree with you 100%. Like, and me and one of my buddies talked about this. You guys might see him, Eddie. He comes on here, and we talked about, you know, why do NFL coaches take a guy who's, you know, show what he's able to do in college, and why you just don't take that and just make it better in the pros instead of changing up the whole thing to what he does well. And I agree with you, man. He played lights out. Now, but with this comment, you got to have the weapons, right? Because in Washington, he had the weapons. He had the weapons to throw the ball to. And right now, Atlanta Falcons do not have that. They don't have that talent on at the receiver position to be able to go out there and just sling it like that. They don't. They don't. T. Terry says Matt Ryan said he bent his toe all the way back in the game and he still played and he had a bad. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, like unless Michael Penix in the cast or something like that, I'm pretty sure he's playing this week. And especially, man, you see Kirk Cousins on the whole quarterback show Netflix. He wasn't coming out. Michael Penix ain't coming out either. You know what I'm saying? He's the future, man. If he can go, let him go. John Murray said, I thought Michael played well, but the refs don't know the rules of the game. Lineman can't carry a person across the goal line. And if we went for a field goal, we would have. Yeah, you know what? See, John, you looking glass half full, right? I'm not getting to the refs because they had no answer for Chris McCaffrey, man. And I don't know if even if he didn't carry him in the end zone, they probably still would have scored on that. So I mean, I don't want to make any excuses for the team, basically what I'm saying, because I think they just got that coach. I think Kyle Shanahan had Jeff Ulbrich numbered that game, and there's nothing they could do. So I just don't see it. That's why I'm not. I agree with you. There was rules. They even said it on the TV during the game, but Atlanta Falcons, they just didn't execute no plays, right? That 4th-and-1 was huge. They keep the field goal. You're right. They tied up 13-13, and then we could go from there. But going for the win, I like that too. So that's the way I like looking at it, and that's the way I'm looking at it from about that. He says Captain Kirk has been waiting for Mike P to get hurt so he can have a quarterback situation. Yeah, man. You saw how quick he ran up ran up the other ring at the end of the game, man. He was ready to go in, man. Mike like, I got it. But you could tell he was hurting, right? That one throw, you could tell it was in the dirt somewhere like that. But it's gonna be interesting to see, man. They said he day to day, but like I said, unless he's in the cast and they say he can injure it more, you know, I can see him not playing. But if it's something that said just got it, it's going to heal up in time, just pain tolerance, whatever. I think he's going to go. So we'll just have to see how that works with MPJ. So we'll definitely get the injury report tomorrow on that, and then we'll go from there. But at this point in time, man, let's see. I did go on record though, saying that Kirk Cousins is the best backup quarterback in the NFL. And so if we do have to go with Kirk Cousins, I am confident that we can still win, especially against the Miami Dolphins. So I'm not too like, oh man, we lost our starting quarterback. What we're gonna do now? We got a 13-year vet that's coming in to fill in for him. So if he can't go, we'll definitely get to see what's going on. John Moreno say Wednesday is trading day. So let's get into our last topic today when we talk about trading day, and that's Ray McCloud has been released, right? So this is, like I said, guys, this is really interesting. Because of the lack of weapons the Atlanta Falcons got at their receiver position, right? And you released a guy who had 62 receptions last year, was your third receiver, you know, um, outside of Darnell Mooney and Drake London. And let me go back when I said that we don't have a bona fide second receiver. I should have said third receiver because if Darnell can stay healthy, because he hasn't been healthy, so that's why I kind of forgetting about him. But if he can stay healthy and stay on the field, he could be that bona fide number two, which means we need a third guy that's there. Because I think the more weapons that Michael Penix has, the better he'll be. So when I said correction on myself when I say we don't have a number two, we don't have a number three guy. And Ray McCloud last year felt in that position very well, right? Like I said, 62 perceptions. Um, he did a lot of things for Atlanta Falcons. And I guess you look at a guy like Casey Washington, or you look at Cardell Hodge coming in to be that guy. Now, we did see that Tyler Lockett. Yes, he's an older veteran receiver, but he's been really good in his career, most of his years with the Seattle Seahawks. So you bring in a veteran guy like Tyler Lockett, that might be something that Atlanta Falcons could definitely look in. Now, John talked about the trade deadline. Um, that's another thing that Atlanta Falcons definitely can look in, making a trade for a receiver. Like I said, if you go back and look at the way Michael Penix played with Washington, the prototype of receivers um, he like guys that can stretch the field, man. That's what you want to do, man. You have to make the defense respect going deep, right? That's what they got to do. You got to make the defense respect them for going deep, man. You know, we took some shots. We took a couple of shots down the field to Darnell Mooney because he is that guy that we need to be able to stretch the field out. But I think they need just one more guy. Not just one. I think they need two. I think they want to use Casey Washington in that light as well, but we just haven't seen, like I said, when this team started to play a little bit more man to man. That's when you're gonna have to start utilizing the pass game a little more, because if they're gonna put 8 in the box, you see what the Philadelphia Eagles is going through right now, right? A guy who ran for 2,000 yards last year, and the way they're going about their business right now, and shutting Saquon Barkley down and making um, Jalen Hurts throw the ball, it's going to be the same with Bijan, right? They're going to try to take Bijan away from the game and from the running game, right? Can't take away from the passing game because he's that dynamic. So he's still going to get his touches, but you can see by him the team only having 62-yard rushing, that was the game plan to take away the run game and put the ball into the young quarterback hand, and that's the issue. But if we get a third receiver here, right? So the question is, we don't know what really happened with Ray McCloud's situation. Now we know they you know cut bait with the receiver coach, who was really good friend of Ray McCloud. Maybe that started this issue, this situation with the coaching staff, and I think in particular with Raheem Morris. He said it was really between him and Ray more than being with the organization and Ray. And I think he just don't like the fact that they utilize his wide receiver coach as a scapegoat. But that's the business of football, and for whatever reason, I guess they couldn't see eye. Now we probably would never know the entire reason behind it. Maybe we might hear something from Raheem Morris to kind of shed some more light on the situation. Now, the word on the street, the Atlanta Falcons can save about $2 million by cutting Ray McCloud. I would have to go look at the salary cap, and see what kind of moves they can make. Even they could bring in a guy like Tyler Lockett. I would assume that he wouldn't come in offering for a lot, but he wants to play for a contender. I don't know if he thinks that the Atlanta Falcons could be a contender, and would he even consider coming to us? So that's one of the things that we could definitely look at. John Marino says Odell's still out there. Would that be a good distraction? I mean, I would love to see him, because I still think he has some abilities in, and like I said, he's coming in to be a third receiver, so that would even make it more, take less pressure off of him, because he's coming in being a third guy instead of a a guy that we expect to do a lot, for this team. So that's one of the things that you can take a look at. I'm looking right now, guys, at the cap space that Atlanta Falcons got. Right now, they got 5,784,000 in cap space. Right now, I'm not sure if that includes Ray McCloud. Let's see here. No. So this is before the Ray McCloud release. It has been factored in to that. So that's big. That's really big for the Atlanta Falcons, right? They can get another 2 million. That's reportedly right now. If that's what they're going to be able to recoup back, that gives them $7 million. To go out and actually make a deal with a guy like somebody mentioned, Odell Beckham, Tyler Lockett. All these guys are older guys, so it's not somebody that you expect to come in and be. You're not asking these guys to be a number one, right? You're not asking them even to be a number two. You're asking them to be a number three. But I think it would definitely help out the Atlanta Falcons offense if you go out and get a guy that could definitely help the squad, because we need something. Because more and more the Atlanta Falcons put on film, the team's going to try to stop, our guy, and that's Bijan, right? They're going to try to slow him down in the running game, try to slow Tyler down in the running game, and they're going to put more pressure on our young quarterback. So with the release of Ray McCloud, we don't know what's going on with that. Um, Hopefully we hear some more um, tomorrow from Raheem Morris to shine some light on that. But we just don't know. We just don't know. But there you have it, guys. The Atlanta Falcons, its consistencies is what costing them right now. And until they realize um, how to start to create those consistent habits, uh, they're going to still be in this up and down roller coaster. And the fans, you know, we all going to be the same way, right? But I'm asking you as fans, as fellow fans, let's temper down the roller coaster, guys. We can't be like ready to fire the coach and everything after one game, because I can I can almost guarantee if you go after the Buffalo game, nobody was talking about firing the coach. Nobody was. Nobody was talking about that, right? Because we was riding sky high. So what I'm saying is, it's like they inconsistent. I agree with you. They are. Offense is not living up to what it should be living up to, right? I think the defense is ahead of where we thought it was going to be to start the season, right? Now they got some things they got to deal with. Like I said, Devon Diablo coming back. We don't know the status on Trey Anderson. Troy Anderson, freaking JD Bertrand is not the guy. I'm sorry, he's not. Missing tackles. He's not fast enough. He's not a starting linebacker in this league, right? Maybe depth, special teams, okay, but he's not a starting linebacker in this league. So that's an issue for Atlanta Falcons, and it's probably going to force the Atlanta Falcons to play their defense a little different, because they're going to have to be be able to adjust there. So they I think for having played 6 games and started this season, the Atlanta Falcons is trending in the right directions, right? That's the way I look at it, right? They just inconsistent, man. They just inconsistent. They execute one week, and this was not a letdown like it was in Carolina. Let's be I'm telling the truth about that. This is not what happened in Carolina, right? The performance we seen from the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday night is not the same performance we seen in Carolina. The Atlanta Falcons had a chance to win this game, right? They execute on just a few plays in this game, right? This outcome would definitely be different. They get that 4th and 1 completion. We could be talking about Atlanta Falcons being up 17-13, putting our defense back out there to go up against Kyle Shanahan, needing a touchdown. That's where we could have been with it. So like I said, one play away, a few plays away, right? We can't forget about having 10 players on the field on a play. Like I said, they got that coach, man. Um, Raheem Morris, Jeff Ulbrich, and Zach Robinson, all those guys need to go back and you know, look at the tape and find out what Kyle Shanahan, who we knew was going to come in with a game plan. Robert Saleh is a really, really good defense coordinator. We knew was going to come in the game plan. Both those guys did something that they hadn't showed all season long against the Atlanta Falcons team, and Atlanta Falcons was not able to make adjustments to it. It's just that simple, right? That's really, really, really boils down to the you know, the 49ers ran lots more pressures in this game than they did all season, right? The 49ers ran a lot more gap inside scheme because that's what the Atlanta Falcons Achilles heel has been showing all season long, running up the middle, right? They took advantage of that. And I'm gonna just tell you, the end this whole conversation today is that I don't understand when teams know, especially Kyle Shanahan, man. We know this. We watch him. He's going to go to his best player. And Jeff Albrecht has to come in. The game plan is like, your best player is not going to beat me. And I don't understand how that was not the game plan. Like, they let Christian McCaffrey do whatever he wanted to do. Man, I would have put two on him. I would have did everything. And I understand your defense, you got rules and things that you expect your players to do. Forget the rules, right? We're going to put two on him no matter what. Matt Jones, go to somebody else because he ain't beating us. Because that's where they want to go with the ball. And time again, they let Christian McCaffrey get the ball and do what he does. Like, that's what the 49ers did to Bijan. They know we want to get the ball to him. They took him out of the game, man. And so I don't understand that. That's why I said they got that coach. It was more of not. It was, to me, it was more of not coaching right than the execution and things like that. And from a coaching standpoint, you got to get more consistent, getting your guys ready to play. Right, the ups and downs. The fan base is tired of it, and that's why I understand you guys' grief. But at the same time, I think this team is better than we think it is. It is one of the better teams in the NFL, right? But they got to get consistencies down to where it needs to be. They got to stop being so predictable. They got to let the young quarterback grow. And Terry Fontenot and his crew need to go get some more weapons for the young quarterback. That's just the bottom line. So, guys, I definitely want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts on this game. James says, when is Troy coming back? No word, man. Maybe we may hear something on Wednesday about that. John said, okay, I told you last year that Kubiak look like, yeah, man. You still talk about Kubiak, man. We can't get him. We can't get him. I think they should get the guy from Alabama offensive coordinator, Michael Penix, old offensive coordinator in Washington. That's who they need to go get, man. They can't get the board, but they can go get the guy that was calling the offense for the board in Washington, and he's calling for Alabama, and that would definitely be a promotion for him going from college to pros, being offensive coordinator. Ryan Groves, that's his name, and it might happen anyway because Zach Robinson, been looked at as a head coach in college. So if he decided to go to college, the Atlanta Falcons might need a new offensive coordinator anywhere. And like I said, I would personally, for me, I just go get Grubbs, man. Something that Michael Penix is 100% knows the offense, and he'll be light years ahead of where he is now, trying to figure out what he needs to do. If you could do something like that, so that would be good. T. Terry says, move JD. JD could move to safety. You just need to play special teams. They need to find a linebacker. I think Morris and Brick gave this game to their buddies. It kind of seemed like that, man. Where they coached, it do feel that way because it's like, man, this is like one of the most like things you could think about when you think about this. Because I agree with you 100%, man. It's like, how you don't make sure Chris McCaffrey don't go off on you, right? And like I said, man, like if you know Kyle Shanahan, you know what he's all about, what he's gonna do, man. So I don't like the way they coached in this game. I thought they got that coach, man. It's just that simple to me. They got it coached. James says get Mike McDaniel. No, I don't know about Mike McDaniel. Seems like he was really only good with one quarterback. So he's a good offensive coordinator, but I just think that you should let that young quarterbacks run something that they're real comfortable with. And if you go to that offense that Ryan Gross ran in Washington with Michael Penix Jr., man, it was something special to see. Now he had the weapons, he had the talent, he had the talent receivers. I think 3 of those guys on that receiving core is in the NFL, right? So McMillan in Tampa, you know, he got a Doomsday in Chicago. I can't forget what other guys at, but you know, hey man, you got to do what you got to do. So, but guys, let me know what you think about the Atlanta Falcons offense. Let me know what you think about the inconsistencies. Um, your things you think what causing this team to be so inconsistent from week in and week out, and why we can't build, you know, a win streak like that 2016 team was able to do. You know, let's see, can we do that? Yeah, we got to give a young quarterback time to grow and get more and more experience, and you know, trying to figure out what he needs to do um, to get better. And I think Terry Fontenot and his crew need to start scouring free agency, you know, trade market, whatever, to see can they go in and get another weapon. You know, third receiver for this team, somebody that you can be dependable on. You guys threw out Odell Beckham Jr., Tyler Lockett, right? A guy that just got released from the Tennessee Titans. So these are opportunities that the Atlanta Falcons can take. Now, if they think they're good, they're staying packed, well, we need to see it on the field, right? They think they're good. They don't think they need to make any moves to get another linebacker in there or go out and get any more of the wide receivers or something like that. That's going to be a question. You say, will Jalen Walker play? We'll definitely go get injury report this week, and we'll see what's his status. Right, him and Billy Bowman, both of those guys need to come back, especially with the fact that Devon Diablo going to be out. We need this mean his body to come back to that defense, so that's going to be huge. The last thing I'm leaving you with, we're playing a wounded Miami Dolphins team, which is definitely scary because you don't want to be the team that let them get right. And a lot of times, Atlanta Falcons seem like they be that team sometimes. So let's put those guys out that misery early and see what we can do with that. So be back with you once we get an injury report. You know, who's going to be in. Is Michael Penix going to play? Jalen Walker going to play? Billy Bowman going to play? Those guys. And see if we get any word on what happened with Ray McCloud situation. See if we're going to hear anything about Storm Norton, our swing tackle coming back, Troy Anderson coming back. So hopefully we get a lot of news updates on the injury report front tomorrow and what the Atlanta Falcons think is going into this Miami Dolphins game, right? There you have it, guys. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.